Hey everyone, Dr. David Miller here, naturopathic doctor focused on nutrition and digestive health as a means to overall health resilience. Today at yoga I heard someone talking about anemia and the supplement they're taking for anemia. So I thought I'd talk about anemia today. So basically I just want to talk about iron deficiency anemia. There's lots of different kinds of anemia. But really the most common one that you see is iron deficiency anemia. So that's when you just don't have enough iron to make heme, which then holds the oxygen in the blood and takes it to the various tissues for all the metabolic processes to go on. So basically you need iron to hold oxygen to make energy, which then leads to predictable sort of signs and symptoms. When you think of anemia, you probably think of somebody who's pale or has pallor. They're tired because that oxygen's not helping them make the energy. They may get lightheadedness, they may get weakness, but none of these signs and symptoms are perfectly sensitive or specific. Just because you have those symptoms doesn't mean you have anemia. It can be a little bit more complicated than that. And if you have one of them, doesn't mean definitively you have anemia. Maybe one of the better signs is pale conjunctivis. So that's paleness in these here. If those are really, really pale, according to your doctor or naturopath, then it's a good chance you have anemia. So anemia happens over a period of time. That's why it's kind of hard to figure out sometime if you have anemia. It doesn't really usually happen like that. So the body will make amends or adjustments for not having enough iron because the body is quite resilient, right? You may get other sort of weird symptoms. I've seen this in kids where they get what they call pica, which is a weird sort of food craving. Kids will want to eat dirt or something like that, or maybe chew on ice. You may get spoon-shaped nails, so the nails sort of have like a reverse scoop to them. Angular cheilitis, which is like a sort of inflammation around the lips and specifically in the angles of the mouth. That can be other things too, but it's one of the things it can be is anemia. Hair loss, glossitis, which is inflammation of the tongue, so like even a sore tongue. But that can also be B vitamin deficiencies and other things too. So you can see it gets quite confusing. There's so many things that iron is involved in. It makes sense that it can manifest in so many different ways. So how do you get anemia? Well, again, we're talking about just basic iron deficiency anemia. It can be from basically blood loss. So you're losing blood. So menstrual periods for women and for men and women, sometimes we're losing blood through the GI system. So for ulcers, inflammatory bowel disease, we can lose blood from having used too many NSAIDs, and these are things like aspirin, anti-inflammatories. Anticoagulants can make us anemic. So those are the three ways, right? You don't take enough in, so you're not getting it from your diet, so maybe not eating enough meat products or animal products that give you iron, heme iron. You're not absorbing it, or you're losing it. So those are the three main ways that we don't get enough iron. So usually it's going to be one of those ways, right? That we have to suss out. Is it that you're a vegan? Is it that you have crazy, intense, long menstrual periods? Each person will have anemia, maybe for different reasons. Another reason that you may have anemia is because the bugs in your guts, parasites or just small intestinal bacterial bugs, otherwise known as SIBO. I've talked about it before and I'll talk about it again, I'm sure. So small intestinal bacterial overgrowth is what SIBO stands for. So what do you do when you have iron deficiency anemia? Well, often you go to the doctor and you need lab testing. First of all, I should be clear about that. Laboratory testing is the only really sort of definitive way to see if you do have iron deficiency anemia. So with your naturopath or with your medical doctor, you get testing and it shows maybe your ferritin's low, your hemoglobin's low. Blood testing is needed to determine the cause. So then you decide to supplement. Well, often you'll get sent to the pharmacy to get ferrous gluconate or ferrous fumarate, and these types of iron supplements are not very well tolerated. I see so many people either constipated or other GI distress for some reason from these pharmaceutical sort of forms of iron. And I have to say, you don't need to suffer with a crappy form of iron. You can take a much more tolerable, absorbable form of iron, and the one that I use is actually iron glycinate. So that's one to look out for. It's just a little bit more easily absorbed. But iron is difficult to absorb anyways. You want to make sure you get a highly absorbable form. And the other thing is, you shouldn't supplement iron unless you know you're low. Sometimes you can actually feed bacteria by giving iron when it's not needed. So you want to make sure you need iron. You don't just take it flippantly. I hope that gives you a bit of a simple sort of background on iron deficiency anemia. If you think you are iron deficient, definitely go see your doctor or your naturopath and get that blood testing, because iron is so critical for so many metabolic functions. Until next time, keep nourished, keep moving, keep relaxing. We'll talk to you next week.